Good evening. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen, and I have a fun show tonight. I actually have my friend, Raphael Roberts, who is the Solar King. He's based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and he has his own solar company as well. So, Raphael, thank you so much for being on tonight's show. How are you doing tonight?
Doing absolutely great. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be working with you and to have a chat about what we do best. We got to welcome everybody to the Solar Kingdom. That's the way I look at
it. How did you come up with the Solar King?
Funny story is actually my nickname has been King since I was about 20 years old.
Okay.
And it kind of rolled a lot of different things that I've done in my life, my career. But when I first got into solar saved my life. So I decided to own it and, making that really who I am. And whatever you make yourself or label yourself, you kind of want to stand up to that. And so being a king or being a queen and whatever it is that you do, I think even of yourself is kind of the most important thing. So why not push it into solar where I would love to be able to rule the world and help everyone I can,
Yes. So Raphael and we met actually in Las Vegas, a year ago?
About a year ago.
About a year ago?
It was actually about November, December. Yeah, around that time.
Yeah. I think it was in the summertime, or it was earlier in the year. Maybe it was August, I think. I can't remember. And then we saw each other again in January of this year. February.
Yeah.
But Raphael, I am 5'2", and Raphael, I think, is 6'5". How tall are you?
6'5". Oh, definitely. You're right on the money. Yeah. I'm the short one of my family, though. My dad's 6'8". So I'm the middle child.
And I think I remember asking you, did you play basketball growing up?
I do. I think I got some of my trophies in the back there somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
Got my state championships and stuff, but it comes with just being in a basketball family. So
awesome. So how did you get into solar?
Oh, that's a funny story. The short version or the long version? Just kidding.
Whatever you want to share.
Honestly, so one of my really good friends for a long time, who actually is funny. I met playing video games. He's now one of my parental brothers from the East Coast, and he kept telling me, "Raph, you get the solar. You get solar." He used to sell cell phones back in the day. And he's like, "You need to jump this industry." I was like, "Yeah." I was doing my own personal training in the door-to-door sector. I started off actually doing steak and seafood sporadically, which I will say is, if you're an alarm guy or anything like that out there, pest control, the guys with the meat trucks, I'm telling you, man, when it comes to savagery, can't touch this, baby. Yeah, it really made me grow thick skin. But I learned everything I possibly could learn in that space, and I felt I had masked out. And it was a really interesting transition time in my life where I actually had gotten ill, and I actually couldn't work for a while. And what happened was, my friend was like, "Hey, come out to South Carolina. The solar thing's really good. Check it out." He's like, "Save this much money and come down." So I was working myself to go over there. And right when that happened, the Vegas market opened up. And at the exact same time, one of my other friends, has nothing to do with this at all, we used to work in the nightclub industry, reached out to me. He goes, "Hey, Raph, this solar company just talked to me. I think this would be perfect for you. You should come check it out." I was just like, how ironic. I just got the phone with my friend. And I ended up checking it out, sitting at the table, listening to what's actually happening, did the interviews. And my friend that actually got me into the business fell ill. With a pretty bad flu for like almost a month. And so I'm starting by myself. It was really kind of, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, but it's just kind of like, well, I want to do this with my buddy. But when I got started, I went out for my first day and knocking on some doors, probably about 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour time with the manager at the time. And, I had no idea anything about solar, power, energy, lingo, nothing. But I did have the confidence and experience of knocking doors and being in front of people. And that particular trainer left me there shortly, was like, "Hey, I need to go help someone else." I'm just like sitting here like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
My only reaction was this: if I wasn't experienced, I would have walked away and never come back.
Right.
And that really kind of fired me up. And I learned over a short time that I actually had more experience than this person training me, which ended up prompting the regional manager for Nevada and Arizona and stuff to actually come down and train me personally, because I was actually out knocking about 200 to 250 doors a day.
Oh
by
my
myself,
gosh.
in the cold, in winter.
That's intense.
Yeah. So I mean, I think after my first month, I did over 2,300 doors or
Oh my
something in the
gosh.
entire
Did
neighborhood.
your knuckles get tired? I've never door knocked, Raphael, ever.
You try doing it when it's like 20 degrees outside or freezing. When I did the steak and seafood, we did it in Utah when it was
Oh, so okay.
snowing.
You've got experience. Ken
Right.
Wall says, yo.
Hi,
Yo, Ken
Ken. How you
Wall.
doing? And it's funny. So, after a little bit of time, I was able to get my first deal. And when I was sitting there listening and learning, I was in this family's house probably for 3.5 hours. Paperwork was really long a couple years ago. And they're still friends of mine today. To this day, they are my first customers. I love them. They're the cutest kids. They got us like a brand new family. I think they had a 5.6 kilowatt system. It cost like $90 a month, something really simple.
Oh,
but the best part about it was they cooked us dinner.
Oh,
we were there so long that we were there until dinner time. And the wife said, "You guys just want some food?" And we were sitting there with the kids having fun, closing paperwork, talking about Star Wars. And I was like, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tammy says hi. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Thanks for watching. Well, so it sounds like it started out as a relational thing. I mean, you're going into when I first got into solar and was starting like to get my, experience, I was going into homes. I shadowed some solar sales reps, learned kind of how it all worked.
Right.
But up until, since COVID has hit, I haven't been in homes really. I've been in a couple with masks and, safe distance. But traditionally, pre-COVID, you were going into homes. Ken Wall says, I've knocked on more than 10,000 doors, trained a lot of people to do it.
Absolutely,
I was driving down the street the other day thinking I really should just get the courage to go knock on doors. We'll see. Maybe I'll knock my neighbor's door. So if any of my neighbors are watching and you want me to knock on your door, I will come knock on your door.
I would come practice,
I know it's one of those things that I just, being a female in this industry or in any like door knocking, I just haven't, been so keen on doing that. JR, good evening. JR is watching from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have Martin Emmanuel, very impressive on how determined you two are. Well, Martin, thank you for saying that. I think one of the things that's really important to note is Raphael and I, we have a lot of friends in this industry, a lot of good people. We really care about helping the homeowners. Like that's the one thing that I think, Raphael is a highly relational person. He just calls out of the blue, just to check in. How are you doing, Jamie? And I appreciate that. But you have your own you've had your solar business, and is your dad still involved too? Are you guys out working together and you've got a little team there in Vegas? Solar, even though we're, there, you see solar people standing at Costco or at, where else do they stand at? Home Depot and Lowe's and Sam's Club. It's really hard because people are shopping. They don't really want to be bothered. That's me. I would always be like, I would actually, I feel bad. I would lie and say I already have solar, because I just didn't want to be bothered in the middle of Costco or Home Depot, or they just looked bored out of their minds. So
I've actually, sounds terrible. Like I've actually asked so many people in Costco, been like, "Dude, can I come work for you?" I'm like, anytime, bro. Anytime.
Yeah. Because we're really out there to help people, and we're out there to help people save money, and we're out there to help partner together to save the planet and make it a better place to live and everything. So what, after you got that guy came and trained you, what happened then? Did you start? And you had your first dinner made, home cooked dinner
It
during
was
the solar
so
queen.
it was one experience. It was one heck of experience. I think at that point when I got my first deal, I think I'd have been there for maybe 2.5 weeks of just working. But I'm just a lead. I started lead setting, just learning the business, just paying my dues.
Yeah.
But after that, I had more opportunities started to rise. This is a very interesting industry that we're in, and I think one thing that us as human beings that we need, it's not a lack, it's a need, it's a must have in our souls for us to win and move forward in our lives, is that progress equals happiness, right? Once I started learning and developing a little bit more in my experience, I started moving myself to other industries and other teams, trying to increase my knowledge, getting better and more mentors with more and more experience. That just prompted me to just I explain it. I've been a part of almost every type of solar business model, every structure, every program. You name it, I have done it. From design, engineering, software, everything else behind. I've done every kind of training course in multiple languages too. It was in all reality, like I think in my personal career, I think I've been a part of at least 9+ organizations. And I'm still friends with all these people.
Yeah. Well, I think what it does is it makes you more well-rounded, as when you're going in and meeting with homeowners and they've got questions, or there's for everyone that's watching that, and you don't know about solar, you don't have solar for your home yet, you should get solar if you don't have. Ken says if you're not growing, you're dying. It's totally true.
Absolutely.
There are so many components or so many facets and angles to think about and talk when we're talking solar. It's not just the cost savings. That's one of the things. But we're talking about there's multiple people or entities involved in a solar project. You got us, Raphael and I we're helping educate the homeowners. We're informing them on how solar works, and we're able to put together proposals and designs and come to the homeowner with different ways that they can pay for their solar, whether it be cash or credit card or financing.
Yeah, you can't do a credit
card. Get those miles and cash rewards. I mean, you can totally do that. I wouldn't recommend holding on your credit card though, because you're going to pay a lot more in the interest. But that's just the beginning, and then after that, everyone goes through a process of going from a site survey. Do you show up to your customers' site surveys when you can?
Yeah, when I can, I do. Usually I'm part of every part of the project. So I tell a lot of my people I work with, the families I work with, I'm your quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. No matter who calls you, anything goes right or wrong, I'm the man. You give me a call, I'm out there. And a lot of people don't understand the extra work that we put in. That they'll never see. And it's funny, like our friends and stuff, when they hear us, you're so busy. It's like, you have no idea, but it's okay. All the work we do is to make sure that everything is up to par with quality of service and work, and it all comes out smoothly from top to bottom. And the best thing is, like, if something does go wrong, we're also there.
Yeah.
Right. I think the one thing I love about you and myself is we don't abandon people, because we're in the business of helping and providing. That is value, but real relationship, and trust.
And things can go, I don't want to say wrong.
Things can be stopped, or can
come up that are beyond our control, but we will be there to support and get you answers along the way. Ken Wall says he hasn't done my course yet. Ken, I'm actually going to talk to Raphael about doing your course, because he wants to start his own show and podcast and everything.
Hey, nice.
I'll hook you up.
You should name it. You should just have it. What does it say? Oh, Ken hits the wall.
No, he has a book. He has a show called Breakthrough Walls, and he's actually written a book. And yeah, your
name is the best brand ever. I mean,
he's amazing.
I love it.
I love Ken Walls. I owe a lot of gratitude and thanks to Ken for everything that he's taught me. and other mentors in my life as well. But yeah, things happen along the way, because I think what people don't realize, and I always tell my customers this, that at the end of the day, this is a construction job. It's a construction project, and it's going to take time. We would like it to be like, happen like that. Someone asked me the other day, well, how long does a solar installation actually take? And I said, well, the actual installation takes a day to 3 days, maybe 4, depending on the complexity of the job. But most of the times it's 1 to 2 days, depending, on. Oh, Ken has said, I've written 5 books. Ken, I'm sorry.
He's got you down.
He has an ebook. He has an actual. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and find out what all those books are. Thanks. Yes, thanks. Good. But the actual installation doesn't take all that long. But everything waiting, California is so much different than what I hear is going on in Las Vegas and Nevada and other states that Raphael.
Yeah.
I mean, Raphael you'll tell me, yeah, I got a job installed in X amount of days. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. One of the fastest ones for approval. So, that means the entire city, the utilities, the construction, everything's been verified, cleared. A lot of components. It was all done, I think, in 19 days. And then on the 20th day, they were like, we're ready to go on your roof. And I was just like, wow.
When did that happen? How long ago did that happen? It seems like this year.
That one, I think, was March. I think it was earlier this year.
It seems like with COVID, with fires here in California, everything has just been delayed.
So you guys in the far, I call it, we're the entire West Coast, guys. Vegas and Cali, we're the entire West Coast, but the far West Coast, my sister over here. You guys have more stops than I could even imagine or believe. And I feel not only for you, but also for the construction people out there on the ground. And I feel for our admins that operate and do everything with utilities and are trying to, navigate through this entire situation with care and with timing to the utmost, responsibility they can. And it's really beautiful that we can be here to always be there to make sure that, hey guys, we're here to completion and no one's abandoning anybody. Cause that's really important. It's a really important thing people need to understand. When you have a professional working with you, they're there from day 1 to day 365 to 450 days later. You know what I mean? Like we're
and
here
even
forever.
Beyond that, I have customers that come up and they get their first true up and like, how do I read this? Or why do I owe some money here? And, because that's happening. I don't know about you, if your customers that went solar a year ago are experiencing this, but I have experienced homeowners who even got a little bit more extra solar power in their system because of COVID. Because everyone's staying at home and they're powering Zooms and they're, air conditioning more than they used to because everyone used to be at work or at school. It's totally
it's a different situation.
Yeah, it's a little different than it has been in the past. So have you seen that for your customers? Has that come up?
Yes. I must, I've worked really, really hard, I think, as we all do in our craft, to 99% of the time make sure I get the math right. And make sure it's as perfect as possible. But in this situation that's happening, just come forth. I think out of all my clients, I think I've only had one person, but I don't think it was actually due. It was a really weird situation where their inverter, which is the technical side, went out, and I went and got it. And it's okay. It was from an older company, and I called my old GM and was like, "Hey, can you guys help me out with the situation?" And they were gladly to oblige. In a couple of days, they came and fixed it all up. But he's not told me that this happened like a month or two beforehand in summer. But I will say, I think I have the bill around here somewhere, but this was actually one of the best stories ever. He had over 400 and something plus dollars of credit at the utility company. So he didn't have a bill for the entire time his system was down.
How awesome.
I was just like, thank you. Proof's in the pudding.
Ken used to live in Vegas, and he said it was around $800 a month. I believe that. That's insane. That's
Yeah,
insane.
sounds like my mother's house in the summertime.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's one of those things. Vegas and Arizona are very, very special places because we're the
Yeah.
hottest zones.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Ken,
Thanks for sharing this out, Ken.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, Ken, I've done some projects out here where they have $1,200 plus bills, 1350, 1780. I'm like, what's going on in your house? Do you guys have like a small factory in here or something? And in most of those cases, when something's that high, I mean, if we max out roof space and stuff like that, I want to tell everyone it doesn't always take out all of your bills, but if something that extreme, we can definitely cut it to 50, 60, 70%. And it's still a blessing in
He lived in a big house, three
3
AC
units.
units and then a 6,800 square foot home. That's
Were you in
nice.
Donald's Ranch, my friend?
Ken lives in Ohio now. He left Vegas because the electricity bills are too expensive.
I got some teams out there, Ken. I'll definitely come see you when I come out there next year. Yeah, that's a big property.
It
Do you
is
have some
big.
horses on there too?
I have some customers that are in that $1,000 range, and people just can't believe that their bills and rates are continuing to increase. What are the rates like in Vegas right now for kilowatt hour?
Versus California?
Yeah, well, I'm just curious.
We're like the babies. We're like around 14.5 cents.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're at almost 25 cents a kilowatt hour for the first tier. And for time of use, it's more like 34 cents during non-peak kilowatt hours. So our energy
what's
is
the highest tier? What's the highest
50
tier?
cents. 50 cents a kilowatt hour for high usage. Anyone that goes over 900 kilowatt hours a month, if they're still in the tiered system. If they go over, yeah, I mean, that's why as soon as they go into that high surcharge, they're doubling the amount of money that they're spending.
Move to Vegas.
Tom Jen says, good evening to you too, Tom. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Well, I was looking at a utility bill for someone in Texas. They pay 12.5 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
9.5 cents there in Ohio. It's still pretty cheap. He's not sure.
There's this one referral I received for Utah, and apparently it's just like one little county in Utah specifically, but it was around 7.8 cents a kilowatt.
Yeah, that's like.
I told them, I was like, I could do it if that's what you really want, sure. But I mean, honestly, I don't think I could be much of service. You guys are pretty much the best rate in the country. Top 3.
Well, but if people are really because people go solar for 3 to 4 different reasons. One is for cost savings. I mean, that's the number one reason why. I mean, would you say that's the most, I guess, more the number one reason why people go solar that you're helping?
That's the most common reason. I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to save money. Yeah. Right. But I think in our professional experience, we show the bigger picture that honestly, guys, if I can save you like a small portion of your bill and put some money back in your pocket instantly, great. But if we can show you, I don't know, without giving any figures like that, but like if we can show you how to get almost all of it back to you with doing nothing but paying a light bill and help you against, protect. I don't want to. I can't use tax terms. I'm not going to get guys. But there's a lot of other vehicles. Solar is a vehicle to full control over your financial projection inside your family.
Yes, and energy independence.
That too.
I mean, that's a huge thing, and for California in particular. It's to stick it to the utility company because they're so upset with them. And because it's renewable.
And one more thing.
And we're doing our planet good, because I have 3 young kids. I want them to have a healthy, thriving future. So people those are 4 good reasons why people go solar. It's renewable energy. It's renewable. It's sustainable. I mean, I always say this, but the sun, I don't think it's burning out anytime soon.
Don't think so
And
either.
our planet's getting warmer, so people are using their air conditioning more.
Warmer, come play in 125 degrees.
No,
It's
this
gonna,
is why I want to move to Hawaii. Although Hawaii is very expensive for electricity. I think they're at 55 cents a kilowatt hour in Hawaii if you don't have solar.
yeah.
It's a
Well,
lot of money.
Hawaii actually, because most people don't know this, but like Hawaii is actually like one of the top places in the entire country and the most early adopters of solar power. Hawaii is.
Yeah.
It's incredibly large and vast out there with the need and necessity. Like you're saying, nobody wants to pay that.
No. So tell me a little bit about your experience with what do you do for cloudy days? That is a great question, Tom. We should talk a little bit about the technical stuff of how solar works.
Sure. You want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead, Queen.
Well, for us, I mean, so there's something, people have this fantasy when they go solar that they want to live off the grid. And it's just not really possible. I mean, you can, but in very isolated incidences. But for the vast majority, everyone that like lives in a city or county, municipality, they have to be grid tied. So they're tied, they're still relying on their utility company a bit. For a couple of reasons. When you get your solar system designed, we're going to account for the entire year. So it's really important for us, like Raphael and I, to know how much energy you're using in a calendar year. And also to know if you're planning on adding anything to your home, like adding another or a hot tub or another air conditioning unit, because you're frying on the upstairs and you don't have air conditioning upstairs yet. A lot of our neighbors here don't have air conditioning on their second stories. Because when they were built, I live in an older neighborhood. When they were built, they just, didn't have the duct work for air conditioning, and they didn't have large enough service panels to support air conditioning. So they're frying in their
I thought it was just like they just open the windows because it's just the way Californians do it.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we don't even use our air conditioning very often. But what you do is it's like a bell curve. So I'm going to try, it's like a bell curve or like that. In the wintertime, your solar system obviously is going to produce less, but in the summertime, it's going to produce the maximum amount of your energy. And you really want it to aggregate to net zero or a little bit of a surplus. So what you're going to be doing, Tom, in cloudy days or winter days where the sun is out later, short or long, gosh, I can't talk right now.
It's okay. I got you.
When the sun is out less, you're going to be building up credits, kilowatt hour credits throughout the summer or on your sunny days. And whatever you don't use is going to be banked in your net energy metering account with your utility company. And then on those cloudy days or during the wintertime, you're going to debit from those, kind of like a bank account. You deposit your check in, and then when you pay your bills, you go to the grocery store, you're going to debit from that. And then hopefully you don't bounce checks or you don't overdraw on your account. That's the same idea. I mean, I don't know. Is that how you explain it?
Yeah, that's a very similar analogy I like to use. I think the one thing is, like, just for clarity purposes, like Mr. Wall over here, like in certain states like Ohio, they don't have that system in place. Okay, so not every part of the country can maximize this benefit, like California, Vegas, Arizona. But yeah, she's 100% correct. During the summertime, we'll just say, like she said, you're just getting all those bonus credits up, and up. And during the wintertime, you use those excess credits that you banked up to cover the winter months. Because the one thing people understand is solar is a constant process. Okay, now even though there might be a little less light in the wintertime, it's a consistent curve. Okay, and what that means is, like you said, with the what do you call it, the bell curve, right?
Yeah.
When it goes up, it peaks. That peak, what happens is in the wintertime, you actually save, or you actually produce more power. So next year, you actually will cover the summer months, and that's kind of how it works throughout the whole year. And the whole entire model is really built on a system that covers not just this year, but also next year. And those, in certain states, everyone's a little bit different. We have the rollover. I call it rollover minutes. Because remember AT&T and the old, Sprint rollover minutes, right?
Yep.
So what happens is at the end of the year, or in sometimes the true-up systems, you get a little rollover. So if you have an excess of, we'll say a $200, whatever, that will roll over next year, and then the year after that. So when these utilities keep rising and raising our rates without our permission, that system will protect you because you're always creating an abundant extra dividend, right? Which is a compounding effect, just like if you guys do any kind of investing, and that will always cover, most for usage, unless you decide, like you said, to add on a second house or something like that you didn't plan for in the first go.
Ken Wall says, if the sun burns out, you won't have to worry about your electric bill anymore because we'll all be dead. Oh, yes, Raphael. He is smooth. He's smooth.
I appreciate it. One day, don't worry. I got you, Ken. You can show me the way. I'm just here to learn,
So Tom, on cloudy days, what you're going to do is you're actually going to be pulling energy from the grid. It's no different than your neighbors, but you're just going to be. So one of the things that's really important is this thing called a smart meter. It's those digital meters that can literally spin backwards and it can spin forward. So a lot of homes that, maybe solar isn't quite there yet in some of these states where, there's not the interconnection. They don't have net metering laws set up or rules set up. Those the analog meters need to be replaced with digital meters. Smart meters is what they call them. When California and all the utility companies were starting to install the smart meters, I don't know for you, Raphael, did you guys experience a lot of pushback from residents saying it's going to cause me cancer because of the wireless and all that stuff, because it's going to be installed on my house and everything? Did you guys experience that at all? Because we did here in California.
Californians are a lot more aware of a lot of those things. It's a more casual conversation, just between your community. But in Nevada, I think the second to last wave of solar that came by, which was about 5 years ago before it got shut down. And most people don't know, Vegas was shut down for about 2 years. And there's a really good story behind that. I'll get to that in a second.
And that was because of the Public Utility Commissioner, right?
No, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit better than that, actually. Yeah, it's a little bit better than that. Okay. But then the first wave, nobody knew what it was, right? But people were, like you said, a little concerned. It was very spookish. It's new technology. Things are changing. And a lot of houses weren't ready for that. There's only about, I think within the last 8 to maybe 9 years, where we started integrating smart meters into our own properties in Nevada. They all got replaced. And since that transition's been happening, it's actually preset most of the homes. I mean, like 80% of the homes in our city to be able to do solar and control and handle that output back and forth with smart meters.
Yeah.
Vegas was shut down, ladies and gentlemen, because it was sold. NV Energy was sold. And NV Energy wasn't just sold. It was sold to the richest man, one of the richest men in the world. Warren Buffett. Ever heard of that name? Yeah, he bought Nevada. Most people don't know this, but he actually owns Nevada.
I did not know that.
And yeah, Berkshire Hathaway is the main shareholder in Nevada. And for most people who don't know, in Nevada, we only have one utility company.
One utility company for the entire state of. So it's a total monopoly. So this is where energy independence comes into play, folks. If you want, I think sometimes people think the utility companies is like a government thing, or like they have to pay their utilities to the. Okay, good night, Ken. Thanks for watching and thanks for sharing this out. I'll make sure that Raphael connects with you. So,
absolutely.
But a lot of people think that they have to pay it because what else are they going to do? They've never been able to do anything about it until solar.
In my city, there is no other thing to do.
There is nothing. Yeah.
A lot of people. Actually, usually I'm in conversations, it's in passing. I ask them, like, listen, when you bought your house, do you remember like someone asking you if you wanted to join their company? No. Remember them actually asking you, hey, can you sign this document? And I will not tell you how much we're going to raise your rates in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, but you have to sign this, otherwise you won't have lights.
Yep. And you have to pay it or we're going to shut everything off.
And you have to put a down payment towards it too, which makes no sense, right? Yeah, you have to pay a down payment to get into your own house to get electricity from the one provider in the entire state. It's
Texas
pretty
does it right.
man.
I mean, for people that are living in Texas, there's lots of co-ops, a lot of co-ops, and that helps keep their rates down. But a lot of Texans still want energy independence and they want to own their power, and they're okay with getting the solar installed and owning it. It's theirs. It's an asset on their house. That wasn't like an earthquake, was it?
No. Funny if it was, though. No, actually, I think one of my whiteboards just fell off the wall. It's okay. Things happen. I have like 9 of them in here. Like they're everywhere.
Gotcha. Yeah, no. So it's you have one utility company in Nevada. That's incredible.
Yeah. So just like you're saying, sticking to the man, everybody has a. I call it the Darth Vader. If you guys Star Wars fans, like it's one public enemy, and it's okay to have one public enemy. It's better to have one, in my opinion, than 20 or 30 like the other states. But it's easier because everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, I tell my homeowners here, and especially in Northern California, where our rates are increasing year after year, compounding about 9%.
Yeah, your guys' raise this last year was insane. You guys went up 14% or something like that in 6 months.
It's ridiculous, but it's like the death by 1,000 cuts. You don't feel it because most people have it on auto pay, or they don't feel it, or they can't do anything about it, so they're held hostage, and they have to pay it. Like you said, I mean, and the utility commissioners, they go out and they say, we want to raise the rates this much, and they get approval. The public can go to those hearings and say, I object, but that's
not, yeah.
It doesn't really do anything for them.
So if most people know, is like we just got the Raiders here in Nevada. Yeah. It's like a 5-year project in the making, right? We also have the Knights and all these great sports teams and a lot more people coming. Yeah.
Some of my viewers might not be happy that they moved from Oakland to
Cali. What? Oh,
cheap flights to Vegas. Come on. And it's Vegas.
Yeah. It's always something to do here. But most people don't understand is in the last 2 years, the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission that she was talking about, requested a 19% increase in 2020. It was denied. We're lucky. Oh, but they're asking for a 24% increase for 2021 and 2022. What that really means is this, and like she's saying, it's death by 1,000 cuts, which is, this is, even to you, this might sound crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So what we do is, because they don't give anybody an announcement, actually they did this year, but usually they don't give anyone an announcement they're going to raise your rates. What they do is they actually tack on about 9 different small things on their bills. If you look carefully at one of them, it will say like renewable energy payment. Like, I don't have solar. Why do I have renewable energy payment? Solar green finance. I don't have a finance company. What are you guys talking about? Like there's always little charges that no one reads. Like you said, no one pays attention to.
We just had wildfires added to ours. Wildfires, right? Yeah.
Like think about that. Like it's
everyone has to pay it.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no control there, right?
Got no sun in Wisconsin.
It's okay, man. We get you some batteries out there.
That's what happened in Washington. My uncle and aunt live up in Washington. My brothers do too still. And they said, I think in Tacoma, the rates just shot up, I think 15, 20%. And then they're pretty affordable, but it's other utility companies are starting to catch on with their rate increases too.
Oh, it's a big game. It's the biggest game.
Wasn't Duke? Is it Duke or Dominion that just did a huge rate increase on the East Coast?
That would be Dominion.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it was Dominion. So it's one of those two. So I think actually it's a great question. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
This is Dominion is also now bought out by Berkshire Hathaway. Some of the same person that owns Nevada.
Oh my gosh.
That has happened this year.
Warren
Like it happened in
Buffett.
February. He acquired it, and so now he owns like 3 states in the East Coast and at least 1 or 2 in the West Coast.
I mean, it's a smart move as an investor.
Oh,
right?
So there's this really interesting thing. If anyone's ever seen those big stories about the big plants, like the big solar plants around the country, a lot of them failed. But most people understand is, remember we were talking about earlier, like small little notations on your bill. Mm-hmm. There's actually this thing, and this is something I teach people, when they get educated, is there was a time where their investors were asking for a significant amount of funds to fund these projects, $2 billion projects. Well, if you go to an investor and say, hey, listen, I have 2.9 million customers, I can get your money back guaranteed, right? With probably a 5 to 8% return over the next 10 to 15 years. They made a closed loop, it's called trust, where they're like, hey, listen, we're going to put and fund this $2 billion project, and all those homeowners here in Nevada have to pay for it.
They put that on the utility bill?
It's on the bill. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No one knows what it says. It's called temporary green finance. No one even knows why it's there. And if you think about every single homeowner in Nevada paying, or anywhere, paying an extra, I don't know, say $1 or even 80 cents a piece a month, every month, forever, there's this little thing that our utilities are, like you put a government entity, is that they are semi-quasi-government entities, right? Do you know what that means? So so pretty much they're private sector companies that are backed by government contracts. So that certain things about their business, they do not have to disclose to the public.
Oh, gotcha.
So what they're actually disclosing is nothing to us, and yet we're paying for it. And
do they make your utility bills really difficult to read? Because I feel like they do that on purpose to homeowners here. They make it really difficult to read.
They were kind of difficult to read. They've simplified them. I will say in the last 18 months, they've actually changed our bills twice.
Like the way that they're charging customers, or the way that they're actually put on the bill?
They actually changed the way they're presented. They even added color, which is really nice to differentiate some things. And yeah, they actually made it easier because it was kind of complicated or really straightforward in the past. Your guys' bill is what, 35 pages if you're with Edison or something like that. I every time I look at these bills, I just look like, I feel like what does the grandma say when she's just like, how do I read this?
No, all the important stuff is on the back of page 1. It's on page 2, and it's all fine print. Like, I don't have a bill in front of me right now, but it's like really, really fine print. It breaks down the charges and everything. And then when homeowners do go solar and they start getting their, net energy metering statements, they are even more complex to read because they don't understand. They don't really explain how to read your bill. I'm sure if you went to their website, they'd break it down and everything. But I do spend time educating the homeowners on how to read their bill. And then when they go solar, I also break down how to read their utility bills after solar, because that's just as equally important. What's your connectivity fees in Nevada for when you have homeowners who go solar? Because here in Northern California, it's $10 a month with PG&E.
$12.50.
Okay,
like, exactly.
That's not so bad.
It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people don't understand that. I just call that is the meter rental tax. Okay.
Maintaining the grid.
Yeah, okay. We can say it maintains the grid. I just honestly, I just call it the renting that piece of equipment, the smart meter. Keeping yourself connected to the grid, it costs you about $12 or $10 a month.
Yeah,
that's pretty reasonable. I mean,
honestly, I think so.
Coffee's pretty cheap. It's not
and that's to going back to Tom's question about cloudy days. That is because on those cloudy days, rainy days, and even your solar system will produce a little bit of energy on those rainy days.
Absolutely.
Might not be a full day's worth, or at that moment in time of the year, but it does still produce. But you're going to be pulling from the grid, so you're going to be having energy delivered to your home to use. There's no interruption. Some people are like, well, what happens if it is cloudy, or what happens? There's no disruption to your energy supply or source to your home.
You just got to think of it like the plants behind her. It's all about photosynthesis. Honestly, it's a photovoltaic. it means you're you're getting power from light, not from heat. Okay,
Yeah.
not from the cold.
Yeah.
It's literally about the UV rays and the light coming through the clouds. So even on those partially cloudy days, you will probably produce about 50% or 40% of what you usually would do in a normal day without clouds, but it still works, guys.
Yeah, it still works. Do you see a lot of people in Nevada getting backup batteries?
Not yet. It's starting to come, I think, a little bit more prevalent. Especially a lot more training and understanding of how those things work, which I think we
Mhm.
both understand that now. It's just not necessary as of yet because our net metering agreement right now with our state, or with Warren Buffett, I'll just say, is pretty good. It's really good, and unless it drops to a certain position where it doesn't make sense anymore, that you have to have a battery to cover that difference,
Mhm.
that's when we'll start transitioning a lot of our older solar clients into batteries. And I've already prepped all of them. I said, listen, a couple of years in our state, when everything's looking good, we'll bring this to the table for you. It's not a problem. But in most cases, it's not too prevalent. I actually have dealt with a couple of battery cases here around the country. Are you seeing a lot more in California as a necessity?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's because of the public safety power shutoffs.
Oh, okay.
So these are, and this is the new thing for during windy conditions, weather, where there might be power lines, trees being blowing over and falling down on power lines. So if there's a high wind warning or red flag warnings and potential wildfire, potential for that, they'll shut the power. They'll be proactive and shut the power. Thankfully, this year we've had rolling brownouts, but we haven't had like too many power safety shutoffs, at least not in the counties that are surrounding me.
Is there a difference between a blackout and a brownout?
A brownout is where they will announce to certain counties and cities that they're going to cut the power because there's too much demand on the grid during peak hours.
Okay.
So earlier this year, we had some people. I live in Marin County, and down in southern Marin, they had some brownouts, and I think over in the East Bay as well. So it does happen, where there are brownouts, but the blackouts where the power is cut for days is to protect, to keep from having more wildfires happen from down power lines, because last year there were some fires caused by down power lines, and so they shut the power, and then to prevent them from happening, I think tree trimming businesses have probably felt a boom this year because they're constantly going and trimming back the branches from the power lines and everything. So yeah, I have seen increases of backup batteries being sold because people just don't want disruption to their lives. They want peace of mind that their home is going to be fine during a power cut. For those who don't have backup batteries during a power cut, your solar system shuts down for safety purposes, so you don't have power to your home. But if you have a backup battery with your solar system, your home, you have something, it's called a critical load. And so you'll have a sub panel that's critical load that's tied into your backup battery. So in the event of a power cut, you have power during the day when the sun is out. Your system's still going to generate, and it's only going to power that critical load. It's not going to be full house backup battery. You're not going to have full house power unless you get multiple backup batteries. But you're also going to be having, the sun's going to be charging up your battery during the day so that you can have power throughout the night, still on that critical load. So during the power cut, you're not going to have to worry about your food going bad, and you're not going to have to live in the dark. You're not going to want to run your air conditioning because it's just too much. There's too much power load coming through, unless, again, you have multiple energy hubs or multiple inverters and multiple backup batteries. Go right ahead and run your air conditioning during those power cuts. But, people just, when we went without power for 5 days, that was a long time. People were losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars out of food, and people that have electric ovens and stoves couldn't cook. Most people, I think, it feels like most people have gas water heaters and gas stoves, but there are cities in California that are making it so new home construction cannot have any natural gas into their homes. So it's all electric. California, I don't know where Nevada is with this, but California has this new law that all new home construction in 2020 has to have solar. A solar offset, not full house coverage, but a solar offset.
Yeah, like I was saying,
batteries will be on the tail. They're coming up in the next few years. That'll be a part of the building code.
Like I said, California is like our sister. We just we're just following the lead. Yeah, on as of I think in this last year, after you guys' laws changed, I have personally seen about 5 communities being developed fully with solar add-ons additions to them. 5 kilowatts or something that attached.
Yeah, very small systems.
And I've actually gone and talked to the developers about this. Because we also do some of the commercial stuff out here too. But talking to some of the developers of how these contracts are being made and what laws they're following, and it looks like we're going to start. Maybe that might be one of our forwarding political moves, probably the next couple of years. But we already have an act that like by 2030 we have to get 50% of our entire state to renewable energy, and that's going to help us push that narrative. Our jobs and the new market, homes coming in with energy efficiency already put on it, actually. Batteries right behind it. If those homes don't have enough power and they don't have enough roof space, then put a battery on there and get.
That's right. That's happening with one of my homeowners. They don't have enough roof space. They can't get 100% offset, so we're adding some batteries so that they do not they're not subject to that peak kilowatt hour rate charges.
Listen, we don't want to live in Arizona. You guys in Arizona, that time of use peak charge.
And it's only that's the other thing. The utility company is moving everyone over gradually. Everyone's shifting over to time of use. So people go, oh my gosh, my utility bill just went up $60 or doubled or whatever, and it's because they've been switched over to time of use, and they don't know. I mean, the utility companies are so, their marketing it's because we want to reduce the demand on the grid during the high usage when everyone else is home.
So do you want me to tell you the truth behind what that actually means?
Sure. Yes, please educate us.
So there's a thing called the duck effect for all the small engineer people out there. It's very similar to the bell curve that she was explaining earlier, but the duck effect is the gigantic computer algorithm that runs the entire state or the city, wherever that utilities reaches. Every single time of use during the day at nighttime when it's peak, we'll say it's at 2 p.m. or it's at 9 a.m. or whatever that time is, it's all check marked and calculated by a gigantic supercomputer. And these guys spend billions on getting this algorithm right. We disrupted that
with solar.
With solar, because what happens is usually most people are not home, they're out working during the day. So the peak hours when people are using their power is usually between 3, maybe 5 o'clock to 7 or 8 o'clock at night, right? So about 2-3 hour window and early in the morning. But solar, we get the max peak hour during the day. And because of that, their bell curve looks like this, and our bell curve overlaps theirs. So what happens is in the short term or the interim, as we're transitioning to a renewable energy planet or state of population, they didn't calculate for this adjustment because they were getting too much power in the downtime. And just like a circuit breaker, when you turn everything on to max, it overloads.
It overloads.
And I think it was last summer, I had driven past a Best Buy, right? And I actually went to go, I think I was just going to stop to get a phone charger or something like that. And they're like, we're closed. The entire employee people were sitting outside with water bottles and crates in 115-degree weather. And come to find out that the entire building and block, these are huge complexes, burnt out, blacked out. And in our community, and then we have people sometimes that work in those utility companies and what's going on. And they told us that's what happened. The grid got overloaded. Too much power was hit to the grid during the middle of the day
because of solar energy.
Not only because of that, but mainly because of that, and because they hadn't adjusted it properly for what was going on. So utility companies are now playing nicer because they get we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We're really ramping this up. And so a lot of things like you're talking about brownouts and blackouts and protections, it's a serious thing, but that's what we're doing. We're making sure that so now utilities are catching up to what we're doing, and when they have full electrical, houses and communities, they're going to be more prepared for it because it's already calculated into the grid's pre-existing system when they already have houses built with it
Gotcha.
in their calculations.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's going back, we started talking about the process, it being a construction process and the timelines and everything. The utility company has a role in all of in the home in if you go solar as a homeowner, they play a role in it because they have to like give you the thumbs up you can turn on your system, which is called interconnection. Or permission to operate, PTO, and other, if you use the acronym PTO. But the cities, the counties are also involved for permitting process and then final inspection. And my husband's a building inspector, not with solar projects, but in the city of San Francisco. And so I hear about projects and stuff, but it's a process. It involves a lot of relationships with different, like I said, with the city and the county, with the actual installation partners, because we're not the installation partner. We are helping educate you and get you set up to go solar, with everything from learning how solar works to how you're going to be affected on cloudy days. We're going to help you get the financing in place if you want to finance your system, which I don't understand. I think it's a no-brainer with financing now these days. That's my opinion. We went solar zero, like no money came out of our pocket. And our bill like slashed in half and we're happy. Like
that's what you ever asked for.
What's that?
That's all you could ever really ask for, honestly.
Yeah, and we monitor our production and everything, and we just make sure our system's working nicely, and it is. And and then so I remember feeling anxious when we got the solar. We've signed the deal and everything, and I was like, when is this going to get installed? When are we going to get installed? And it got installed, and then when is it going to turn on? So. But for all the homeowners, you're so excited because it's something new. But for all the homeowners out there that are getting solar, especially in California right now, and other parts of the country, it sounds like Nevada's got it, and like maybe they're just moving. They just got it well dialed in. Maybe because it's I don't know, one utility company, but it is a process. And yes, we want you to start saving money immediately, but there's things that are beyond our control that we want to expedite it as quickly as possible and get you paying that last $400, $500, $600, $850 utility bill so that you can go solar and you can start putting money back into your pockets with the savings, because that's really what's happening with solar, because it's just so affordable now.
I just want to touch on that. Yeah, like you said before, there's a lot of pieces in this puzzle, guys. We are the project managers, if you want to call it, right? We organize everything from the back office finance companies who want to go that route to making sure that our operations are talking to utilities to make sure everything's on the same page. That's our job. It's not only to just give you guys education, but it's to make sure that everyone's communicating as fluidly as possible with as little interruption to make sure that that gets turned on. And like she said, those utilities companies, when they say wait, my hands are off. It's like take the wheel. I have to wait. Patience is everything, but just knowing that the people that you're working with are there, and we're going to be there the moment it's on your roof if we can, and safe distances, of course.
Right.
But it is something that are out of our control.
Because speaking of safe distance, have your solar, when you're meeting with homeowners, how much of it is virtual and how much of it is in person? And are you still outdoor knocking, or are you doing other ways to reach homeowners?
That's a great question. I've been door knocking for over 7 years in my experience with the different things. Seven, 8 years. And one of my goals was to no longer be door knocking as my main source of, lead generating marketing, Still, I love getting out and meeting people. I have a bajillion great stories. But honestly, this last year, it sounds crazy, but those who's those industries that grow in the midst of turmoil are the ones that succeed, and sleight of hand forcing our industry to mature and move into the new age was beautiful, in my opinion, because it made us evolve to not just us, but the people that we're working with more of a open mind to not
Yeah.
having it in the home.
Yeah.
If they're in town and they are comfortable with it, I will go to their home and I will do the inspection. I'll get my drones out. I will fly out and get roof pictures, the whole 9 yards. The moment I meet you guys, check all the boxes and do my full outside, my 8-point inspection. But other than that, like I would probably do probably 60% of business now, maybe even 70, all online or over the phone, through one of these applications, and it's okay. It's a different method, but honestly, it's actually really fun. It's been a really fun transition this year. I got a lot of I actually got a lot of referral business here, so I kept me from knocking doors. And when you do what you do, the more people
When
call
you take care of your customers, they're going to refer. They're going to tell their neighbors and their friends and family the kinds of money that they're saving, and they're going to say, "Hey, go work with Raphael," or "Hey, go the Solar King," or "Go work with Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen."
I love it. We should just write a book.
I am writing a book, actually. Nothing to do with, well, it is, there'll probably be a little bit of solar in there, but I am in the process of writing a book. And for people who are watching tonight, I actually host a show on Fridays with business owners, entrepreneurs, and side hustlers. And this is kind of like a little version of that, but it's called Kickstart Conversations. And I love hearing people's stories, and I love hearing how they, like for you, how you got into the industry, and the fact that you've knocked on so many doors. And I've knocked on a couple for like growing up when I was selling popcorn or pizza or magazines when I was growing up. That was the last time I knocked on doors. But no, a lot of it's just word of mouth, or people who have gotten solar, and they say, "Hey, talk to Jamie. At least talk to her." I mean, have a conversation.
I tell people, listen, if you go with me or not, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
And make sure you're protecting you from just getting in trouble with someone else.
Yeah.
That's what I do too. It's funny you talk about like where we started from. I don't know, I guess I never shared it, but like when I was going through that transition, going into solar, I was broke. I was sleeping on a floor for like 10 months. Like,
so you're like, this has to work. This has to work.
It has to work. But that's my determination. Like, no one ever knows where you start from. And that's okay. I came from a decent family, but like at that moment in my life, I was at the lowest of lows.
Yeah.
And I gave everything to this business.
And it's fruitful for you, and you're helping so many people. And you're making a pretty good living at the same time. So it's a win-win for everybody. You're helping save people money. They're having energy independence. You're also making a living out of it, and you're building relationships.
I think the human, like we said earlier, the human connection is always an element that we have to have, just for us to feel that good energy and warmth. And there's no better feeling or action than being able to help someone else and be of service.
Yeah.
And feeling that you're doing something good for them and never cheating somebody. Like, we're in this business for a win-win-win situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that smile on your face, that right there is just genuine happiness.
Raphael, I got into the solar business because we had I don't want to say he was sleazy. I just saw I saw a lot of sleaziness in the industry, and I did not want solar because of the goodness of solar. I did not want people having that experience.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm helping homeowners now that, where they're saying they have set up solar appointments with several solar companies and they don't show up. Like, they don't show up. So that's happened before. Or they were flat out lied to, or they just talked about all these, like, when it comes to pricing and everything, or how, they just get like, what is the word called? Bait and switch type stuff happens. So I was just like, that's enough. We love solar, and our experience was pretty good, but it's what also got me into the industry so that I could help people from a genuine place of caring and wanting to help. I never thought I would ever be in sales, but sales is happening all around. I'm being sold all the time by my kids. Mom, I really want to play this game on Robux. I really want to play this game on Roblox. I need Robux. Well, why do you need Robux? Well, because I need to buy this, whatever. I get sold all the time. We're being sold all the time. We're selling whatever it is. And it's okay. It's how life happens.
That's how everything works. Yeah.
But I just wanted people to have a good experience going solar, at least the best that I can provide. And like I said, some things come up and they're beyond my control, but I try and do the quality control. I try to pull it all together and reassure the homeowner, things are going to be okay. I'm sure you've had plenty of those experiences, but really got into this to help the planet, help people, help save money and everything. And I really enjoy it. It's really fulfilling to me. And who would have thought that I would? Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I've been a sports and I went to military college. I've been in all kind of competitive or team oriented situations. When you're in those spaces, you see leadership and you see not only when you do your own self growth and stuff, but you always want to help those around you grow. And internally and psychologically, I love behavioral psychology and I love understanding human beings, but I also love nurturing people.
Yeah. And
not in the baby way, just the education, just feeling that you can just impart your knowledge and wisdom to somebody and change their day or their life. It can be anything like, hey, don't chew bubble gum and run across the street with a sharp object. Like, hey, I can learn a lesson, right? But to me, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, we have worked with some really great people in this industry.
Absolutely.
People that have the same vision, same goals, or, in terms of helping. So it's great to be in the company of people like you that are out there serving.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I mean, that's why I call you out the bull at the time, because you just have that great energy. It's like, James, what's going on? You having a good day? Good.
So Raphael, how can people I'm not really all that familiar with the Las Vegas market, but how can people reach out to you if they are in Nevada?
No problem. So my Instagram is Raphael Roberts, the Solar King. That's funny. And you guys can also reach me at Raphael A. Roberts on Facebook. And we have some more websites coming up, but I won't. You guys can check those out on my social media.
Yeah, as they come up, as they become public.
Yeah, when things become public. So you guys follow me on there. Check all of our stories. I have more content coming up all the time. Also on TikTok, the Solar King.
You do TikTok? I'm not on TikTok.
We're working on it. YouTube will come soon. But
yes. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on and just sharing some stories and helping people understand a little bit more of the robustness of the solar in general. I want to say the solar industry. It is a solar industry. If you are a homeowner and you want to work with me, you can reach out to me. Let me put my email up here. I should have put yours up. Jamie at Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen. That's me. Yeah, it's pretty easy. And you can find me on all the, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think I have a Twitter account.
Yeah, Twitter account.
And LinkedIn, Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen. And then if you have a commercial property or you have, you need industrial solar or even agricultural, you can email me at jamie@excelsiorsolar.com. With the commercial, I can help everyone in all 50 states. So share this out if this was, value to you guys. If you're interested, if you are in Vegas and you forgot, I should have had your information there, Raphael. I'm sorry about that. Message me and I can forward it on to Raphael if you're in Vegas, in Nevada, Reno too. Can't forget about Reno. There's people in Reno. Raphael can help you there. But I can help in all over California. We can help all over as many states. If we can't help you in the state that you live in, we'll let you know.
So,
and if we can't, then we'll put somebody else in there that can. So
you can use this email.
Oh, great. Okay, Oh, I like that. Here's Raphael's information. Here we go.
Be happy at nomorehighbills.com.
There we go. Be happy at I like that. nomorehighbills.com. So have a great Sunday. We're very grateful. If you're one of our, homeowners that we've helped, we are very grateful for your business and entrusting us with the process. And we obviously would appreciate any referrals that you might have to your neighbors, to your coworkers and family. We just want to say thank you for entrusting us with the solar process for you guys, and wish you a happy Thanksgiving this year. So we're going to sign off now. Raphael, hang on tight for a second, but we'll see you next week on Solar Sundays. Bye.
Bye.